What's up everyone, another day, another slay, and I hope yours is going okay, because I'm about to ruin it with this wonderful article from Screen Rant. Now, this was an article on The Last of Us show, obviously, because that's all I can think about right now, but I actually found this article over a year ago before any of the trailers for The Last of Us show even came out. I remember being in geometry and seeing this article rear its ugly head right as the bell was about to ring, and yeah, it's pretty bad. This entire article is about the casting of Nick Offerman as Bill in The Last of Us HBO show. Now, I've talked a little bit about the show on my channel. I think it's fairly good and really has just been getting better as it goes on. Yes, the second episode of the show was significantly better than the first by a long shot actually, and I've heard nothing but praise for the third episode, which may have already dropped by the time I upload this video, I don't even know. However, whatever it is, I'm excited for it. I've been absolutely loving the show so far. The casting for Nick Offerman as Bill is just absolutely perfect to me. From what they showed from the episode trailer this week, he looks fairly faithful to the game despite what I've heard about the episode, how it's the one that deviates the most from the original game's story. But you all know me, I don't care, honestly. All of the changes they've made to the game in the show so far have at the very least not affected the overall storytelling at all, and if not, have straight up just been better in my opinion. It's definitely debatable how accurate they should be staying to the source material, but that's not what we're talking about today. So this article is called The Last of Us's Nick Offerman casting makes sense, but it's problematic. Now you might be wondering, how can his casting be problematic? It isn't like Nick Offerman is like a neo-Nazi or said some messed up shit on Twitter or supports objectively bad people in the world, so how can this be problematic? Well, if you paid attention to the Bill level in The Last of Us game, you would realize that Bill from The Last of Us is gay. He's actually fairly good representation. Honestly, all of The Last of Us's LGBT representation has been fairly good since the first game even came out, even in part 2. I've always really admired this series for how it portrays LGBT characters as, well, people who make mistakes and sometimes who are straight up the villain of their own story. Like, a problem that I have with a lot of LGBT media is that some stuff just tries so hard to make their characters seem like super likable that they end up becoming whatever the hell the gay version of a Mary Sue is. In The Last of Us, again, they're flawed, and that will always be something as an LGBT person myself will always admire. But it turns out The Last of Us HBO show's portrayal of Bill is not gay enough, according to this author. And that's because Nick Offerman, the actor that plays Bill in the show, is straight. Well, according to what we know. That's right, possibly one of the most progressive series in entertainment where they have a lead character who's a lesbian, I guess is not progressive enough. Yeah, I've been shitting on the far right for a while now because, you know, they're funny, they're batshit crazy. Like how last week I made fun of a crazy conservative complaining that Sarah was black. This week I'm gonna be making fun of a crazy liberal. But that doesn't sound as good. Shit. Loony liberal? That sounds really cheesy, but I'm just gonna go with it. This video is a kind of similar story to last week, just on the opposite end of the spectrum, so enough talking and let's see what Screen Rant has shat out today.
HBO's The Last of Us adaptation recently cast Nick Offerman as Bill, and while the casting is perfect for the character, it's also potentially problematic.
Now, I haven't seen the episode yet because, again, I'm writing the script like a day before it comes out, but from the trailer and from what people have said about the episode who've seen it pre-release, it's like the best episode of the show. They focus a lot more on Bill's queer relationship, which is great. It takes the most liberties from the game out of any episode in the show, and according to reviewers, it's for the better. And from what I've seen in the trailer, Nick Offerman is literally perfect as Bill. He looks exactly like the character from the game with a slightly more bushy beard, and he's also funny, which is really important for getting Bill's character down.
Here's the thing, Frank. If I feed you, then every bum you talk to about it is gonna show up here looking for a free lunch. And this is not an Arby's.
Well, Arby's didn't have free lunch, it was a restaurant.
And like I said in the last video, that should be all that matters. Unless Nick Offerman is like literally a horrible person, I have no clue how the hell this can be problematic.
The long-awaited Last of Us TV series is expected to arrive in mid-late 2022. A Last of Us movie was originally planned, but it was changed to a TV series after the creative director Neil Druckmann decided that it would be more appropriate to the feel of the game's world.
Yeah, I don't know if I talked about this in the last video on the show, but holy shit, does the show format help this game's adaptation be good so much. Like, they're expanding so much on the story of the game and it's all just so good. I like how some of the episodes are really long too. Like, the first episode was like 80 minutes, and I'm pretty sure the one for this week, episode 3, is also going to be 80 minutes. Stranger Things did that last summer, how like every single episode was over an hour long, and honestly, we need more shows that are willing to do that. Like, some shows are so scared to get past the 45-minute mark, and then their episodes just feel like nothing happened in them at all. So much shit has happened in both episodes we've gotten of The The Last of Us so far, and it's so well paced. The first episode feels like half an hour, to be completely honest. I don't think the game would have worked at all as a movie. There is way too much going on in that game for it to work like that. I don't know why they even thought of making it as a movie in the first place, to be honest. I don't really know any story-based games that would work as a movie, because they're all so long with so much shit happening in them. Like, if they were a movie, they'd have to be all like 3 hours long. Maybe the one exception is Uncharted and Resident Evil, because those games are short, yet somehow, whenever someone gets the rights to make a movie for one of these properties, they keep fucking it up. Resident Evil has had like, I don't even know how many different attempts at making it into a movie or show, and it could work so well. Resident Evil was initially based off of blockbusters, 70s and 80s horror movies, and it captures the cheesy feeling of them so well, yet not one of the like 8 attempts of adapting Resident Evil to live action has been good. And it seems so easy, like shit, even I could probably do that. And Uncharted is the same shit. Just adapt one of the games faithfully, except for the first Uncharted. That game is dog shit. Any of the other ones, just copy and paste. And then Halo, oh my god, don't even talk about Halo. It's just embarrassing at this point. You have all this source material. Making an adaptation should be like the easiest thing to write, because everything you need is already there. All you gotta do is just copy and paste and maybe add a few new things. How the hell is The Last of Us show the first show that I've seen to actually get this shit right? I mean, Cyberpunk and Edge Runners and Arcane are great, but they weren't really adaptations. They were like side stories told within the worlds of these games. From my Zoomer knowledge at least, The Last of Us is like the only one to get this right. Hopefully the Mario movie is good too. And then we're just gonna skip this next part because it's just they're summarizing the role Bill has in The Last of Us. If you haven't played the game, he basically just helps Joel and Ellie to get a car to take across the country. I'm skipping it because there's pretty much nothing for me to talk about here.
Con O'Neill had originally been cast as Bill, however, he had to step down due to reported scheduling conflicts.
Yeah, I have literally no clue what the hell the director's deal is with casting characters who look literally nothing like the characters in the game. Like I said in the last video, I don't think it hurts the show whatsoever, and it definitely makes the show feel like its own thing if that's what they were going for, separate from the game. But I mean, like, come the fuck on. They were literally asking for pre-release controversy from people with these castings. To be honest, with as insane as the Last of Us fan base is, I'm surprised there wasn't more. I remember hearing they were gonna cast like Idris Elba or someone like that as Joel. I know he was black, but then they announced that it was Pedro Pascal, who definitely looks like Joel enough. The actor for Sarah I absolutely love, but she obviously looks nothing like the original character. Same with Ellie and Tommy and Tess and the guy they were originally gonna have play Bill. I genuinely couldn't imagine this dude playing Bill. I feel like he would have been a better David, but you know what? It doesn't matter. He never got casted, and even if he did get casted, it still wouldn't matter, because who the hell cares as long as he's acting like the character? It's fine. Again, this is absolutely not a flaw. I went on a whole rant comparing adaptations to Sage Plays last week, but whoever was in charge of casting decisions, they were clearly asking for internet drama, which in a way I kind of respect.
In his place, HBO's The Last of Us cast Nick Offerman as Bill. This casting makes a lot of sense based on Offerman's appearance lending itself to Bill's video game presence, and Offerman's well-established talent for playing cantankerous characters who are sometimes stoic and at other times aggressive in an understanding and impatient way. See Parks and Recreation. However, in the video game The Last of Us, Bill is clearly gay.
Yes, but again, like I said earlier in the video, the characters in The Last of Us are not defined by their sexualities, they're defined by their actions, which is why the representation they have is actually some of the best I've seen. I don't want a character who's supposed to represent the group of people that I'm part of to have their defining trait be the fact that they're part of that group. That is actually problematic. Y'all remember that awful Q4 show from 2021? And for God's sake, why the hell would it even matter if the actor is gay? Being gay is not a physical thing. You can't just tell if someone's gay or not. I mean, I get it all the time when I come out to people and they're like, holy shit, you're gay, you don't sound gay, you don't act gay, you don't look gay, whatever the hell. I'm sure a lot of my audience right now is surprised that I'm gay. I mean, I've never really hit it before, but I get it. And also, Bill in The Last of Us is not clearly gay. It was implied in like 2 moments. One where Bill was talking about Frank being his partner, and then the other where Ellie was looking at a gay porn magazine. That's it. That's why I'm excited for this episode to come out, for all the crazy rednecks who had the subtlety of his sexuality fly right over their heads, and then to go to Twitter about how they fucking wokenized another straight character. Just wait, it's gonna be funny as hell.
While it's only a small aspect of his well-developed character, Nick Offerman's casting as Bill plays into the long-standing issues of apparently straight actors taking on queer roles.
Let me explain to you how the workforce works, okay? in the workforce, you don't hire somebody for what their sexuality is or what race they are or what gender or whatever the hell they are. You hire them for their talent, alright? At first I thought this was some straight white dude out there white knighting for the LGBTQ community again, but then I clicked on the author's name. Their first name I'm not even gonna try to pronounce, so I'm just gonna say Fruitcake Collington. I can make that joke because I'm gay. This is friendly fire, shut the fuck up. But they're trans and they go by they, them, and goddamn, this motherfucker looks like a fucking frog, Jesus Christ. Holy shit, I want to throw up, genuinely, and it's not because they're trans. There are attractive trans people. A lot of the trans guys I see on TikTok are fine as hell. I think Hunter Schafer, who plays Jules on Euphoria, is really pretty. Shit, there's a girl who goes to my high school who's trans, and honestly, they rock that shit. But Jesus Christ. And shit, we might not even know if Nick Offerman's straight. You right now are assuming his sexuality. How do you like that, you bigot? That was a joke. They themselves say in their article that he is apparently straight, so they don't even know if Nick Offerman is straight or not. That's really sad. But actually, what if I were to tell you that it was not the casting of Nick Offerman in The Last of Us that was actually problematic? In fact, our friend here, Fruitcake Collington, is the one endorsing a genuinely problematic mindset, and that I'm gonna get into in a minute.
At its worst, this can lead to stereotyped or offensive portrayals of the LGBTQ community.
This is just writing itself at this point. Give me one moment where The Last of Us had any stereotyped or offensive portrayals of queer characters. I dare you. Name any moment from The Last of Us, one or two, that would be considered offensive to queer people. I mean, there was one scene where Ellie found a gay porn magazine at Bill's place, but I mean, yeah, people watch porn. I didn't think gay people weren't allowed to watch porn or something, and that's everything that really comes to mind. Other stuff, yeah, I can find offensive shit, like the one Q-Force show. That, it turns out, was made by almost entirely queer people. So stereotyping can happen when it's in control of queer people also. It doesn't discriminate.
But even at its best, it prevents a queer actor from receiving an LGBTQ+ role and being a part of their own community's representation.
Okay, you know what? I get that. Representation helps people come out. I have personal experience with that. I remember when like Lil Nas X came out and everybody still loved him. It was genuinely inspiring to me. And like my 7th grade ass was like, wow, this generation doesn't care if someone's gay or not. But most people watching the show are not gonna go as far as to looking up actors' sexuality, which actually, that's really personal information that the actor absolutely does not have to share with anybody. You yourself as a queer person should know that nobody has to come out if they don't want to. People will be much more inspired by the portrayal of the queer character than the actor themselves being gay ever could. Again, you clearly just don't know how the workforce works. There are other opportunities for queer actors to get roles. Getting denied a role is just how part of being an actor works.
While this is a problem,
oh my god, they can't be for real right now. So let me explain why this mentality is actually really problematic for everyone who isn't straight. Because this type of shit, this same mentality where straight actors can't play queer characters gets so bad to the point where people start getting outed. I'm not kidding. This entire article reminds me of this situation that happened at the end of last year with this British actor Kit Connor from this really good Netflix show called Heartstopper. If you haven't seen that show, I highly recommend you check it out because that also has some really good queer representation. It's a little cheesy, but honestly, that's kind of what makes it good. But back to Kit Connor. He's now a bisexual actor from England and he's only 18. That's 1 year older than me. This dude is really young. Some people don't come out till they're like in their 30s. But basically in the show Heartstopper, he plays the boyfriend of Charlie Spring in a gay relationship. The show states that he's bisexual a couple times. One of the really good things about the show is that it has people who are like the furthest thing from the gay stereotype as gay people to show that, yeah, you don't have to be the stereotype to be gay. And that message is genuinely so important for LGBT youth, especially right now when this generation is finally learning that being gay just doesn't matter. Anyways, apparently people didn't learn shit from the show because in the months following its release, all the actors stated where they fell on their sexuality except for Kit Connor. So everybody just jumped to the conclusion that he was straight, as if the entire message of the same show they claimed to be fans of just didn't exist. So then people started harassing the actor, saying he's queer baiting and he's taking advantage of the LGBTQ community and that he doesn't deserve his role. Sound familiar? And it got so bad to the point where in November of 2022, he had to come out to make the harassment stop. A dude, essentially a child, who obviously wasn't ready to come out, otherwise he would have said it, was forced out of the closet because of this mentality. That is pathetic. When I first read this article, it kind of irked me a little, because like with the last video, why does it matter? But after the Kit Connor situation, anybody supporting this mentality that straight actors can't play queer characters is like actually disgusting to me. I mean, to be fair, because believe me, Fruitcake is gonna need all the fairness they can get by the time we finish this article. But to be fair, the article did come out in 2021 before the whole Kit Connor outing situation happened. But even still, that situation was bound to happen because of people like this.
Some elements of Nick Offerman's personality and other casting in The Last of Us TV series might help mitigate the issue. Nick Offerman has been a long-standing, outspoken advocate for the LGBTQ+ community and has stated that he prioritized progressive representations in all of his scripts.
Who the fuck cares about what political views some actor has? Don't you miss the days when people just kept their damn politics to themselves and didn't constantly talk about it? Like, that is the biggest red flag to anybody for me. Constantly talking about politics and Orange Man bad or Joe Biden bad. It's just annoying. Nobody wants to be around you. I mean, it's good that he's advocating for LGBTQ people, but like, would I care if he didn't? No. I mean, like, if he were a neo-Nazi or something, yeah, obviously that's where your problematic statement earlier would be absolutely true. But he's not, from my knowledge at least. I don't think a neo-Nazi would be playing a gay character, but maybe that's just my opinion.
Additionally, Bill's partner Frank is being played by Murray Bartlett, who is a member of the LGBTQ community himself.
So it's playing into your stupid mentality now. Cool. So why do you care about Bill? It's one person. But we're gonna get into some real stupid shit in a second.
Both The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2 provide some great queer representation. However, there are some key moments where it falters. There are a few happy endings in the world of The Last of Us, so the LGBTQ characters often feel like they're receiving the tropish, unhappy endings that so many queer characters have been forced to receive over the years.
Tell me you don't understand anything about The Last of Us without telling me you don't understand anything about The Last of Us. Jesus Christ, I thought last week's guy had no clue what he was talking about. Dude, nobody in The Last of Us gets a happy ending. Not a single person. That is the point. That's one of the things that actually makes the whole Last of Us series special. It portrays death in a really realistic way, which is one of the things I really do admire about their decision to kill off Joel at the beginning of the second game. How the hell does the way The Last of Us treats its gay characters just like everybody else somehow make it homophobic? I'll tell you why. Because our friend Fruitcake wants special treatment. They don't like seeing queer characters being brought down to the same level as straight characters. And Jesus Christ, it's just pathetic. Why do I have to be associated in the same community as this motherfucker? And people wonder why there's so many videos on why they don't like the LGBTQ community. Because people like this exist. It's embarrassing for all the rest of us. This is why people are homophobic. Because some gay people, a very small minority, but some of them are weird as shit and want special treatment for some reason.
HBO's The Last of Us seems to be taking the adaptation opportunity to improve some of this representation. Given that they have cast an actor to play Frank, the show presumably plans to expand on that relationship. In the original game, Frank's only appearance is as a corpse, and Bill's relationship with him is alluded to beyond a shadow of a doubt without ever being explicitly stated.
Ugh, why do I do this to myself? Bill's representation in The Last of Us is great, absolutely fantastic. It separates itself way apart from other forms of queer representation because it's subtle. It's there, it isn't like this was queer baited or something, but it's not like a bunch of people can pick up on it. And that's what makes it great. You were just complaining about how gay people get stereotyped in entertainment, which I agree with, and now you're complaining about him not being stereotyped enough? Pick a side, dude, Jesus Christ. Anyways, we're done with that, thank God. I've been wanting to talk about this topic for a really long time, and what better of a time to talk about it right now when the Bill episode is about to come out. Again, I'm really excited to see how they portray Bill in this show. I've always really liked his character, even though he isn't in the game for that long. He was always like really funny to me, and again, some of the best queer representation in entertainment that I've seen. Like, I love all the characters in the first Last of Us. They're all really well written. Last of Us 2, but that's for another day. But outside of Joel and Ellie, Bill, David, and Tess are definitely like the standouts to me for side characters. But yeah, I'm excited. Again, you guys should all go watch The Last of Us show. It's really good. And they made the first episode free to watch now. So really, what more of a reason do you have not to watch it? Go now. Click off this video and go watch it. But also remember to like, subscribe, join my Discord, follow my Twitter. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.
What are you going to do?